Hello, hello, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Oh my gosh, yesterday was crazy. I dropped my first official video and I'm so excited. And if you guys can just continue to show love and support. So, by today's title, you know exactly what it's going to be about: emotional bondage. Now, this is really for the ladies because we have been through a lot, okay? A lot from just childhood to just men to just loving ourselves, you know what I mean? And women, we go through a lot, not to say that the men don't, but we definitely experience a lot. So, what we're going to be talking about is emotional bondage. Now, I can't sugarcoat anything. I've been through it all. You know what I mean? I've been through it all. It may not look like it, but I have. I'm 24 years old, was raised by a single mom, didn't really have a father figure in my life until I was like in middle school. And yeah, I just dealt with a lot, just a lot about really just learning about myself, learning about men, and learning about the way that I should be in relationships. So hopefully this blesses you guys and lets you guys in a little bit more about me and my life. So here we go. Emotional bondage, it is bondage. I know a lot of people like to think that, no, I'm just petty, or no, I'm just selfish, or no, I just like to get what I want. And that's fine and all, but you have to understand if you're not in control of the way that you feel, and if you're letting your emotions control and decide for you, you're in bondage. If you don't have control, you're in bondage because God, He offers a life of peace, of power. You know what I mean? Of peace, power, love, prosperity. That does not include being emotional. You know what I mean? Being mad all the time, getting mad all the time, starting fights, being confused. Like, it's just not that type of deal with God. So, to just clear things up, a lot of us may not know that we're in emotional bondage, and that is okay because you will one day. So I didn't really know that I had an emotional problem until I got married. Yes, I've been married now for almost 5 years. And the first year of marriage really showed me that my emotions are out of whack. I mean, you know, it's kind of crazy to think about it now, but I was a total different person than who I am now. And I'm 24. I got married when I was 19. And it was just some things that I was used to doing that was not okay in my marriage anymore, i.e., when I was young. Um, well, you know what? Let's just start off from when I was young because that is very, very, very important. Sorry, y'all. My throat. But anyways, when I was young, um, I was raised by a single mom, like I said. My mom had one child when she was 15. That's my older brother, Tavares, when she was 15 years old. And she had me and my little brother when she was married and in love. So from a young point in my mom's life, she didn't really know how to be, I wouldn't even say be a good mom because she's a great mom. But I don't think that she really, I mean, there's no way that she could have been even known to be a great parent because she was 15 years old. I mean, none of us knows ourselves at 15 years old, so she had to deal with a lot. And now learning about her story, talking to her more, I realized that wow, I was really harsh on my mom and I shouldn't have been. So, but we're good now. I prayed everything off and all that's taken care of. But, when I think back on it is we were really learning and trying to survive. My mom, she worked a lot. It was really me and my brother at home most of the time. I was taking care of my brother. I was helping him with his homework, help doing my homework. We had a little dog. I was the only one taking care of the dog. It was just like a lot of little responsibilities that I had as a young child. So when my mom did start dating, she started dating a few potentials before she got with my stepdad. And in their relationships, I always saw my mom as alpha. Okay. So that's number one. Emotional bondage is really, for me, it was a generational thing. It was kind of ran in my family. A lot of my family on my mom's side, they are alpha women. They are strong, they are determined, they don't need a man, they will control you, They're just very, very independent to the point where it's like, I don't need a man, I don't want one. So, you know, my mom was very alpha in all of her relationships, and it was kind of hard for me to learn what is a woman's place in love, really, in love and just loving you. Am I supposed to be demanding you to love me, or are you supposed to love me? So I was already kind of confused. I always thought that, I got to tell you what to do. I got to make you do it. You know what I mean? So skip ahead. I still didn't know I was in emotional bondage, even in my first real relationship. When I was in high school, I had a relationship for about 3 years. And during those 3 years, when you're in high school and when you're in love and stuff like that, it still don't really hit you that I mean, life hasn't really hit you yet. You know what I mean? You're still living with your mom. You're still going to school to get good grades. You're still a child. So all my boyfriend did, was take care of me, love me, made me feel beautiful. And that's all I wanted. All I wanted was compliments, make me feel good, help me, I help you. It wasn't really like, it wasn't real, That's still kind of like, it's like puppy love, It's nothing really real, although it could feel real. It's not real. It don't really get real until you go through the dirt, especially with someone who says that they love you. So after that relationship ended, you guys, I'm trying not to make this video long. I hate a long video. Bear with me. I'm getting to it, I promise you. But so fast forward, that relationship ended, whatever. I moved on to bigger and better. So I met my husband. His name is Ray. I love you, bae. But anyways, I met my husband and he was everything I ever wanted. So when I met my husband was very chill. He wasn't with the games. And that was different for me because I was petty. I wanted what I wanted. I wanted you to be all about me. You know what I mean? And if you're not all about me, then I'm going to drive you crazy. I was the type, I loved to start arguments. I loved to demand you to do whatever I wanted you to do. I loved for you to just, I don't know, it's just the stupid little things that we do as like young girls that we think is cool. We think it's cool to start an argument. We think it's cool to like curse you out. We think it's cool to like take your phone, take your keys, and we think it's cool to like be crazy, and it's not. It's bondage. If your feelings are making you do crazy things that you wouldn't do, you're in trouble. You're in danger, because that's how real life things happen. That's how when you hear people that have killed people, they go on these rages and they're like, I couldn't control myself. I just got so angry. I used to get so angry, you guys, I would black out. My brother can tell you. Yes, Brandon, if you're watching, you could definitely tell them that I had a temper. And if you pushed it, I was I was a different person. But anyways, yeah, so I got with my husband, and he just wasn't for the games. When I first met him, he was just like, you know, I'm not getting married to argue. He was like, I'm getting married to be happy. And I was like, okay, cool, I got that. Not thinking that, well, shoot, if you make me happy, I make you happy. You know what I mean? So marriage, you guys, is one of the hardest things I've ever have to do. Now, I'm a very loyal person, and this video is not about marriage, but it has a lot to do with emotional bondage. So, the first months, I know, right? Months. The first months of marriage were actually pretty fun. I had fun with my husband. We moved into our apartment. We went to work. We're both in the military, and we hated it, but we loved to come home to each other, talk to each other, laugh. And, it just coming home was like everything we always like. It's like we're waiting to come home, so we will come home and talk or whatever and go to sleep, and then the next day, so things didn't start to get tricky until I got to my first unit, and it was so stressful. So if any of you guys are in the military or know someone who is in the military, you will know that the military can be very stressful. So my thing was is I didn't really know how to deal with being stressed at work and then coming home and then not being stressed, if that makes sense. So I didn't know that, like, it's crazy because it's like you would think to know, but it's like I was so stressed all day to the point where coming home sometimes, I was kind of in situations where I was even more stressed at home. So let's say that I go to work and it's stressful, right? I would come home and I would think that everything's supposed to be perfect, right? And if it's not perfect, then I'm stressed at home. So it's like no way I truly had peace. And remember, I was the type of person who I have to get what I want in order for you to get what you want. So let me just give you an example. So if I'm at work all day, then I come home and maybe the dishes aren't done, or maybe the house is dirty, or just anything that's just not right with me. I would start a fuss about it, and I would start a fuss about it to the point where I would get so mad and maybe cry and cuss and then leave the house and then come back. And you know what I mean? Just like dramatic, 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 dramatic. And me and my husband, let me just tell y'all, we've been through a lot. And that lot is part of my fault. But thank God for forgiveness, and thank God for acceptance. That's heavingly. I cannot speak today. So heavingly placed within marriage because, my husband, he was a trooper. But yeah, so I was just so infatuated with just me. You know what I mean? Everything had to be about me. And it's crazy because I can't even think back on it. Like, when I think back on it, the way that I used to act, I'm just like, but that don't sound like me. That's not me. And I can't even, it's crazy even thinking about it. It's like almost as if I can't really truly even think back to that exact like action that I've done because it's so, behind me. But anyways, yeah, um, so Ray and me, literally my marriage showed me. So I had two choices, right? It got so bad in my marriage, you guys, that divorce was even a consideration. And I knew that I was the reason. Either you can leave or you can stay here and stick it out. And I'm going to tell you how the enemy works, right? The enemy will have you so sold on your own soul that you can't see anybody else's, right? I was so stuck on me that I couldn't even see my husband and what he wanted. I was so infatuated with what I wanted, with what I needed, that I couldn't even provide my husband with peace, love, joy, those things that we have literally from Christ. I couldn't even provide him with that because I was so disgruntled within myself. So, we think that it's cute to be crazy, and it's not. It drives people away that truly loves us. And we should really be taking note whenever we feel a rage, whenever we feel that weird tension, we should always take note, bring it to God, and ask him, what is this? This isn't you. So, what helped me to get out of emotional bondage and how God delivered me from it was I just started getting to know God. I created a whole new relationship with him. And we just really just got to know each other. And I really just got to know God, who he wanted me to be, his plans for me, and who I was to him. That's a whole different story, though. I'm going to do a whole different video on my relationship with God, how it changed literally my life, how I would not be here if it was not for him. For real, y'all. But anyways, so, you know, he really did just show me. And I forgot somewhere down the road that the goal in life, it isn't to do me. It isn't for me to feel good, for me to be everything. It's literally to be a disciple of God. It's to be Christ-like. It's to love. It's to have joy. It's to have peace. We have all these things, but how do we access it? He really showed me that flesh was taking over me. He showed me that I'm two people. I'm flesh and I'm spirit. And a good example of this is when we die, our flesh isn't even allowed in the presence of God. Like, you know what I mean? Our flesh has to die before we are taken to meet Christ. And that's just crazy because we try to get to know our flesh and leave our spirit behind, but it's like, no. Who is Jamie? Who is Jamie as a spirit? Who is Jamie? Who did you create me to be, God? I am a spirit at the end of the day, housed in this body. Who am I? Not that, oh, I'm pretty, I weigh one. No. Who is this girl that you created? What am I supposed to Who am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to see? Like, who am I? You know what I mean? And man, it took a minute for me to just come to God and be honest. And the thing about it is, I was such a broken, lost, insecure girl looking for a man to fix me. My husband, he was just being him. He's so sweet, he's so nice. And I was just looking to him to solve all my problems. I was looking to my husband to just be my hero. And God was letting me know, that is not his place. That's not his place at all. That's God's place. I was putting my husband in the wrong place, and I really I read this book, Torrey Roberts. Y'all should get it. Link will be in the bio, but it's called Wholeness. And I read that whole book and I just realized, like, wow, here I am broken to pieces. And I thought that this was okay. And I was looking to someone to fix it. But God is the only one that can fix it. When you guys get so rooted in God, right? You will understand that nothing in this world, not even yourself, not your mom, not your family, they're great and all. Nothing in this world can ever fix what's going on the inside of you. No book, no nothing. Now, I'm not speaking down to books because books help change my life. But what I'm saying is that you have to want it for yourself so bad to the point where you realize that with God, you lack nothing. You have everything you need through God. So when you're feeling broken, lost, insecure on the inside, no matter how much your husband, your mom, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your sister, your cat, no matter how many people love you, they can't fix what's going on the inside of you, you know? And that was the thing. I was lashing out. I was in such bondage because I was so broken on the inside. And it took a lot of sacrifice to just come to God and be honest with Him. And I just feel like sometimes we're not honest with God. We're not really, 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 truly honest. Because honesty can be scary. Honesty can really be like, wow, you can be embarrassed of being honest. It can be really uncomfortable to just be honest and to let God know that you're struggling. But the great thing about that is that God knows. He knows. He made us. He knows us better than we know our own selves. He knows the very thing, like that very thing that we're afraid of, that very thing that stays on our mind. He knows it. He's just waiting for us to just tell Him. You know what I mean? Tell Him and open up to Him and trust Him and trust that He's the only one that can help us. Trust me, y'all. He's just waiting on y'all. But anyways, so that's literally my story of just emotional bondage. And I'm going to tell you, with emotional bondage, you have to be very clear and assertive when you're talking to God about it. You have to know that, hey, God, I'm acting out. Like, my prayers have literally been conversations like, hey, God, I'm tripping right now. Like, I feel like I want to punch him in the face. You know what I mean? Because he's talking to me like I'm crazy. And God, you know me. Some people don't know I may be sweet, but I do have that side that's like, don't mess with it. You know what I mean? And that's not acceptable because in the Bible, it talks about wrath. Make no decision when you're under wrath because you can make a foolish decision that can literally ruin your life. It can send you to jail because you're mad. Because you're mad. You go around killing people because you're mad. And that's not that's not who you want to be because that's not how God sees us, you know. You have to see it as like the enemy using you against you. It's like the enemy he knows what your buttons are. He knows how you will react. So sometimes he can send that one person to just throw you off. You know what I mean? All it takes is all it takes is for that one word to come up, all it takes is for you to do that one thing and it's going to set you off. Bro, he will push your buttons all day long if he can. But if you're literally saying every time that you feel that button being pushed, and if you say, you know what, God, this happened, and God, I want it to go off. But you know what, God, you You designed me to have power. I have your power. I know I don't have to go off on somebody for me to get my point across. You know what I mean, God? I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that type of person. It's really important to just be honest with God and let him know what literally is on your heart. I'm telling you, you guys. I don't want to get into too much detail with me and my relationship because y'all be like, "What? What? What?" But just know that it's been real. It's been real. It's been 5 years, and we're now at a great place in our marriage. And I'm just so happy that I get to share what I've been through, you know what I mean, to help people because I know I'm not the only one, you know. Us as women, especially not being raised with fathers, not being raised by a man, loving us and communicating to us and just being there for us. Sometimes we take that load of what we wish we would have had in a father and we put it right on the men and we say, hey, you know, you got to make up. Pretty much what we're saying is, hey, y'all got to make up for everything we didn't have. And that's not their jobs. That's not their jobs. That's not their place. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't want it to be their job. You shouldn't want to depend on carnal things. You shouldn't want to depend on your man, your mom, your dad. They're great, but it's so temporary here on this earth. You may wake up one morning, God forbid, and what if they're not there anymore? You know what I mean? Who can you depend on now? You know, it's not about them. It's about God. He fixes everything as long as you trust him, you pray, you do the work, you gain wisdom, you be obedient. Y'all, he will show you. I'm a living testament. He will show you. Okay? This is a side note, but today I struggled so hard to get up this morning. I was literally so tired from really doing nothing, but I was so tired. And I struggled so bad to get up at 4 o'clock. And I ended up getting up at 5. I had 30 minutes to talk to God. And I'm just like, God, I'm tired. And I just don't even want to be here anymore. And all he told me what to do. He let me know, I understand. Excuse me. I understand. And I know. And he's like, hey, just pray about what we talked about yesterday. Write it down in your notebook. And you're good to go. And I was like, wow. You know, I was beating myself up because I wasn't waking up on time. And God is just like, I know. I already know. And I'm like, there's nothing new under the sun with God. He knows. Trust me. He's waiting on you. The longer you stay in emotional bondage, the more detrimental it's doing to your health. If you want to be, you know, so if the wrong button hit, you'll know how to act. If you want to live that life, go ahead. But God, he offers life of peace. So I hope that helped you guys out. I know that was convicted in my spirit to do so. So if you guys can like, comment, subscribe, get to know me so I can get to know y'all. Anyways, you guys, y'all have a blessed one. Bye.